Good morning, and joining me today are County Supervisor Ron Roberts, City Attorney Jan Goldsmith, our City Council member Mr. Sherman, our County Council, and I see we have some great neighbors and Charger fans behind us as well. Thank you for coming. As I think you know, the city and county negotiators are in Chicago as we speak, updating the relocation committee on our efforts here in San Diego. And I mean San Diego, I mean the San Diego region. We want to share with you this morning the same progress report that the NFL owners are also receiving. Quite simply, San Diego continues to build momentum toward a new sports and entertainment facility. Today we have three major milestones to announce. First, the draft environmental impact report for the new stadium is complete. We said we can do it, and we have. The 6,000-page document is also now publicly available online. The draft study was prepared by a 100-person team of experts and planning from the firm AECom and our great work from our city attorney's office, countless city attorneys that were involved. The firm spent an equivalent of 775 full workdays to prepare this draft EIR. It's still a draft because the public will now have the opportunity to comment on the study. And we will use that feedback to further refine the document. And the final report is scheduled to be presented to the City Council in October. I want to really thank the entire AECom team, city staff, and the City Attorney's Office for working extended hours to produce this study. And specifically, I want to thank the city's project manager, Chris Shackelford. I want to thank our Development Services Deputy Director, Carrie Santoro. I want to thank our Deputy City Attorney, Heidi Von Bloom, our AECom Vice President, Ray Renko, who spent a lot of hours on this, and Mike Hansen from my team. Second, we're excited to unveil conceptual architectural renderings for a new San Diego stadium that have been prepared by one of the best architectural design firms in the world of sports, Populous. They've successfully designed stadiums for the NFL, Major League Soccer, the Olympic Games, just to name a few. And notably, Populous has designed new and renovated stadiums for 5 of the 6 NFL team owners that our negotiators are presenting to today. This conceptual design is inspired by San Diego's iconic sites and our breathtaking beauty, showcasing our region in a new and exciting way. It shows a multi-purpose sports stadium that would be capable of hosting professional sports, including, of course, NFL games, San Diego State Aztec games, soccer, and of course our 2 bowl games, the Poinsettia Bowl and the Holiday Bowl, as well as entertainment, cultural, and commercial events, all at a modern, vibrant sports and entertainment center that will benefit the entire San Diego region. And third, we're discussing a financing concept with the NFL, and we'd like to share that with you today. We all know that building a new sports and entertainment complex is an opportunity to replace our aging stadium, which is nearly a half a century old. But a new stadium, of course, is more than bricks and mortar. It's about dollars and cents. It's an opportunity to replace our current financial agreement with the Chargers, which as it stands today leaves the city on the hook for hundreds of millions of dollars into the future. We can fix that with a financial deal that's better for the taxpayers. It's no secret that our current financial agreement with Qualcomm Stadium leaves much to be desired. Here are just some of the facts. Qualcomm Stadium, of course, is owned by the public, and taxpayers are spending millions of dollars on it every single year. This year alone, the city will spend almost $13 million out of the general fund and tourism taxes. That's because the existing agreement that the public is 100% responsible for the cost of running it and repairing it. And that's projected to cost taxpayers $280 million over the next 20 years. And depending upon how long Qualcomm remains operational, there's no cap on how much money taxpayers would be asked to spend. That's the reality, plain and simple. But as I said before, we have an opportunity to change that with a new and better deal for a new and better stadium. Now, you've heard me say on multiple occasions that it must be good for taxpayers, our community, and San Diego voters must have the opportunity to approve it. As mayor, I will not accept anything less. Well, these principles are reflected in the financing concept we're presenting to the NFL today. We're seeking to minimize the public's obligations on operations and maintenance going forward. Simply put, that alone would be a vast improvement over our current stadium deal because it includes safeguards to protect taxpayers, safeguards that were absent from before. The financing concept is comprised of four main elements. No new taxes on San Diegans, $2 of private money for every dollar in public funds, and it will require voter approval. And as it said before, it protects taxpayers. It caps the public contribution to the new stadium. It makes the Chargers responsible for operating and maintaining the stadium, and it ensures that taxpayers are not on the hook for cost overruns. It's a 2/3 private, 1/3 public concept to fund a new stadium with funds from the city and the county capped, and the majority of the financing, of course, coming from private sources, the Chargers, the NFL, and personal seat licenses. And that's an element that has been sorely missing in San Diego's existing stadium deal. By truly striking a public-private partnership, it lessens the burdens, of course, on San Diegans and the next generation. This is an approach that was created and helped with our negotiating experts who have worked on several stadium deals, several successful stadium deals across the country. And they know what works. It's fair and it's reasonable. And we are prepared to submit it to the voters if the Chargers agree to the terms. Not a dime will be spent on any construction unless voters approve it. And if it makes it on the ballot, voters will see that it compares very favorably to stadium deals across the country. The average public contribution for the 5 newest NFL stadiums is about 48% of the total project cost. The financing cap we have on public contributions is at 32%. Now, this concept is specifically designed for reaching a stadium agreement by the NFL's January deadline, and it still has to be negotiated by all parties. But with only about a month left before the deadline to start planning a special election, we're being very clear, very open, and laying our cards on the table. If we don't have a deal, we don't have a project, and we won't have an election. We believe that this is a fair and responsible concept that voters will approve. And we look forward to hearing from the Chargers and whether they will return to the table in the coming days. This is how we can work together collaboratively, as we've said from the very beginning. We've never seen the city and the county and our community and our neighbors coming together for our opportunity to make this work. And again, I want to thank our partners in the county and the city and so many San Diegans that have believed that we need a fair and responsible deal and our opportunity here for San Diego to get across the finish line. And now I'd like to introduce County Supervisor Ron Roberts, who will then be followed by our City Attorney, Jan Goldsmith. Ron?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good afternoon. In the mid-1960s, as a then young architectural student at UC Berkeley, I was always excited when we got a little break and I could get back on a short vacation to San Diego because there was something very exciting going on here. And it was the construction of this then new stadium, then known as San Diego Stadium. And for me, I followed that every step of the way because the design then was pretty unique. And it was the fact that we were going to have a major league stadium for baseball and for football here in San Diego was just a very, very fortunate thing that was happening. It's now just as exciting to be involved with a new proposal that would have us build a new stadium in the northeast corner of this property. In fact, you can see it quite well kind of to the left of those fuel tanks up there close to Friars Road. And I'm just as excited about this. And I am very confident that when we build this, as people here in San Diego, and I mean from all over San Diego, enter this new facility, they are going to feel very excited about what has happened here. They're going to see why there is such a difference between a new stadium and a stadium that's approaching 50 years in age. The architectural team here, Populous, has tremendous experience designing stadiums. And I was very, very impressed with their presentation, not just of what they are creating, why they are creating it, the design. This will be a state-of-the-art facility. And I'm delighted that the city and the county, based on that original partnership in the 60s, this will be the most significant thing that the city and the county have done together since then. When Mayor Faulconer took office, we had a meeting early on, and he assured me that this was going to be one of his priorities. And I will say this to everyone: nobody could have done a better job than what he is doing up to this point, and what I know he will continue to do. We would like the Chargers to be back at the table, at the bargaining table with us. We have made good our promise. Look at the environmental impact report, 6,000 pages of work. And it's a solid document. It wasn't done it was done speedily, but it was done effectively. In my career as an architect and as a planner and as an official, I've been involved in numerous environmental impact reports. The team that did this did an absolutely wonderful job, not just our outside consultants, but people on the mayor's staff and in the city. And our attorney, Jan Goldsmith, and the county's attorney, Tom Montgomery, have watched every step of the way to make sure that we're doing this right. For those that said, you couldn't do it, it won't be done right, it'll be challengeable, we've done it, and it's solid, and it will rest on strong legal underpinnings. So it's a real pleasure on behalf of the county to be here. We've got a lot of work to do, and we can only get that work done if we have a willing partner. I'd like to see a new stadium under construction here. I'd like to be able to take my grandson into that new stadium and say, look at this incredible scoreboard. It's not a scoreboard, it's a media board that you're going to see, and it's going to be unlike anything you've ever seen here in San Diego and in California probably. We're talking about a whole different concept, but we're talking about excitement, we're talking about a fan experience, and we're talking about something that'll preserve San Diego State and their football program, and will allow the Holiday Bowl and the Poinsettia Bowl and all of the things that we want to continue here, the traditions that are so valuable to us in San Diego. This will enable us to continue with those programs. It's not just a stadium, and it's not just for the Chargers. It goes well beyond that. We put something very good on the table. We'd like to have the Chargers back. We'd like to be able to move forward, if not in January, then shortly thereafter, with working on a new project for San Diego. And I'm very proud of everything that the mayor and the city have done to bring this about. So thank you for being here and sharing this little dream with us. Look at the architectural drawings. I can assure you, as an architect, I'm going over every little detail, and we'll make sure that you're going to have something that you are proud of. And even if you're not a football fan, I will guarantee you will walk into this and you will feel very excited that we've created something of civic pride here in San Diego. Thanks for joining us here this afternoon.
Jan?
Thank you. And Ron, let me just say thank you for your leadership, and Kevin, your leadership. I've been involved in the political arena for many years, I haven't seen such a strong partnership on such a large, complicated, and controversial project in my career. And I think both of these two gentlemen deserve credit for leading this. And I'm pleased to have been a partner with them in showing that San Diego can act quickly and effectively. Ron's comment about the environmental impact report, 6,000 pages produced in a very expedited period of time. Some said that it would be half-baked. There's no way we could produce something like that. Through the partnership with the county and the city, we've demonstrated that we can, and we can act quickly. If the NFL wants a franchise in the nation's third largest city, we have demonstrated that we can move quickly toward a public vote meeting the NFL's timetable. I really applaud and thank the 100 or so scientists and other experts who put a lot of work into this document. It may be 6,000 pages, but behind it are hundreds and hundreds of studies and evaluations by very experienced scientists and experts. Our lawyers, I'm very proud of our lawyers. They worked overtime, they worked well into the evening, sometimes into the morning, to review this draft environmental impact report. But let me emphasize, this is a draft environmental impact report under our process. And this is the state process for CEQA. It is a draft, not to be confused with the NFL draft, but it is a draft environmental impact report. That means it's not final. We always, particularly a large project, will always get critiqued. That's what the 45-day public review process is about. It will be critiqued. There will be challenges that this wasn't done, that wasn't done. In addition, our lawyers will conduct additional legal review, and all of this comes together and will determine changes and possibly corrections to this draft environmental impact report. It is not the final product. It is fully baked, but then it has to go through another baking before it becomes a final environmental impact report. At that point, we certify it and we send it to the City Council, which will be in mid-October, where they will then consider it, review it, consider all objections and all that, and then they will vote whether to certify or not. If they certify it, then it can be challenged legally for 30 days. Now, up to that point, I know there's been a lot of people who said that this is going to be half-baked, it's not legally sufficient. It wasn't even in existence at the time. It's like saying the Chargers are going to win a football game before the coin toss. This is a draft. In October, it will be the final. At that point, as every large project in California experiences, there'll likely be a lawsuit. In Petco Park, there are 18 of them. Fortunately, with the help of the Speaker, Tony Atkins, the City of San Diego is going to have access to the AB 900 expedited process. That means that's something that's useful for all stadiums in the past in California. And what it does is it accelerates the litigation process, which means it'll all be completed by September of 2016. So yeah, the environmental impact report process is complicated. It was challenging. A lot of people worked overtime, and 100 scientists and experts to prepare this draft environmental impact report. But the process is no different from here on for this draft environmental impact report and any others. Today we've shown that San Diego can meet the time deadline. We have a funding plan, we have a conceptual design, and we have a draft environmental impact report. We're ready, willing, and able to meet the NFL and the Chargers' time deadline to have an election by January 12th. The ball is in their court to determine, do they want an NFL franchise in the nation's 8th largest city? The table is ready to go. We'll be partners in negotiating it if they want.
Thank you, Jan. Scott, do you want to say anything? You want to say? Thank you. Everybody, be happy to answer any questions. Be a combination of city funds of $200 million and county funds. No new taxes.
Specifically, is that general fund money?
Yeah, it'd be lease revenue bonds on the city, and the county would be a cash portion.
How does the NFL receive the finance plan presented in Chicago?
Yeah, no, great. Our team is back in Chicago, probably meeting as we speak. These concepts are something that we shared with the NFL about a week and a half ago. As you know, that was a 3-hour meeting. We talked about not only these concepts, but also our ability to meet the environmental impact report deadline for the draft. And there were some questions from some outside of that process as to whether we could make that goal. We have. And we said very clearly we were going to meet that goal. We do have the ability to come together and put something on the ballot, but I can't stress enough, as we did to the NFL and are again today, for us to have a framework that we would put on the ballot, we have to have a term sheet that we would negotiate with the Chargers. And the deadline for that is soon. It's approximately 1 month from today.
I guess the next question is, how do you compel, or the NFL compel, the Chargers to come to the table?
Well, it's a question about the NFL and compelling the Chargers. Look, the NFL knows that San Diego is a great sports city. We're a great city that supports the NFL and the Chargers. They have said all along it is their clear desire to have teams stay in their home city. And we have said very clear, regardless of what may or may not have happened in San Diego over the last 10 or 13 years, that we have the ability to get across the finish line now. And I think we've demonstrated to that. So it will be up to the NFL and working with the Chargers here in the coming days to determine a path forward. But we are ready. The negotiating table is open, and we'll see in the next couple days. Yeah, and then Gene.
Do you believe that we realistically have a chance to keep this team with the time frame that we're looking at to get this done?
Well, we've said, and as we said to the NFL a week and a half ago, and the NFL said, we want your team back there to present the latest update. And at that time, the NFL also suggested that we might have some of the elected officials, including myself, back in the October meeting. That remains to be set. But all I can tell you, and I'll let Mr. Grubman speak for himself, is he said our presentation and what we're doing here in San Diego was extremely thorough. And all of us are working together. Gene.
Now, there you have a contingency for, what you say, prospect of DSL sales for 87.
Yeah, Gene, and obviously the NFL has done some research on what they believe this market will bear. From our standpoint, that is good news because we have there's numbers that are attached to that. It's in the documents that we'll give you. Not only personal seat licenses, but suite sales, all of that. What we've said from our standpoint is very important that we have known what our costs are, and then we cap those costs. That we never get into a situation like we have now where this building, where the public is on the hook for this into the future. That will not be a part of this
That's
deal.
a them problem.
Correct.
Okay. The other thing is, and this I suppose is for the city attorney, would it be considered, evidence of not negotiating in good faith if you were to make preliminary inquiries to, let's say, people in St. Louis, the team there, probably less so, but somebody like Jacksonville or others that if for some reason all this falls apart, that the team goes north, who would fill that void?
I'll let Jan answer that question. But obviously, Gene, we are focused on success with our team, the Chargers. That's 100% what we're doing. We're not talking about other teams. We know we can do it here with the Chargers. And as we see people that have come out today to join us, they've been part of the San Diego fabric and families and mothers, fathers, kids, daughters, aunts, cousins, rooting on the team for generations.
Actually, Gene, that's the answer to your question. There's no legal impediment if we wanted to speak with another team in football or some other sport. But at this point, we're focused on the San Diego Chargers, keeping our home team in San Diego.
Yes, sir. We'll go around. What's that? Customer
I
who?
have another question for Jan.
Jan, go ahead.
Would you guys consider an antitrust lawsuit against the Chargers to bring them back to the table?
I'm sorry,
Would you guys consider an antitrust lawsuit?
Oh, okay, the antitrust. No, we're putting on the table an invitation to continue negotiations and our plan. We're not going around threatening litigation, and so we're not discussing it at this point.
Carlos?
Yes, if you were to summarize the EIR and also the financial plan and what has been talking in Chicago, what would you
It's a great deal. We have a complete package here in San Diego, and we're ready to hit the final stage. Environmental work is done. We have a deal that's fair financially. We have a plan that San Diego voters will have the opportunity to weigh in on. But we're saying very clearly to the NFL in Chicago today, and have been, that to achieve success, we have to have the team negotiating with us. We will not have an election in January unless we have a final deal that has been agreed to.
Do they have this draft over there?
Yes, they do, and in fact, this is posted online as we speak. It's online at the city's website. Yes, sir.
And not to play Debbie Downer, but if the Chargers do leave, does this mean that we can still move forward with another stadium with this plan?
Well, as we've said before on the EIR, it's a document that's very important, not only to keep the team here, but you're going to have to tear down the stadium at some point. That would be part of the environmental work. Could you do another facility, a sports entertainment complex? Yes, you could. So it's a valuable effort. We've also said, of course, very clearly to the NFL, because we're replacing a stadium with an existing stadium, we had the timeline and could meet that January deadline. I think they've heard that loud and clear, and obviously the evidence is here before us today.
Kevin, have you had any contact with the Chargers since you
I've not. Maybe one question. If not, we'll be available for one-on-ones. I want to thank again everybody for coming out. I want to thank our partnership working together. I want to thank our neighbors who are out here today. And folks, we'll update you obviously on developments here in the coming days. And we as a region will continue to work forward collaboratively and to work together. Thank you guys. Thanks, Ron.
Well done.
Thank you. Thanks, Scott.